Professor, I have a question for you. Are you familiar with Pascal's wager?
I am, as a matter of fact, but why don't you explain it for the sake of our viewers?
Pascal's wager is a thought experiment by Blaise Pascal. And this is, in fact, actually the same Blaise Pascal who, if you are talking about geometry, is the one who starts. I want to say he's the one who actually. No, wait, no, I'm thinking of Descartes. Good Lord, I'm getting all my French, thinkers. Well, he was also the different guy, also very deeply Catholic. But we're not going to talk about Cartesian geometry today, but rather the wager of Pascal, which is the idea that, hypothetically speaking, if God does not exist, how can you determine this? Because unfortunately, this is not like Paul Anderson's masterful book, Operation Chaos, where they actually ascertained using science that capital G God exists. And not only does he exist, but he is basically the same as the Gospels, you know, infinitely wise, infinitely kind. He's just incredibly distant for whatever reason.
Right.
Um, so we need to know if this is a case, whether or not, and how we can determine this. And uh, and so basically, it boils down to you can either believe in God, and then what happens out of that? If you don't believe in God and God exists, well, then you're punished for all eternity. If you do believe in God and God doesn't exist, well, then what is that? What good do you derive from this? And his idea was ultimately you should believe in God due to the fact that if God does not, if you believe in God
Mhm.
and God does not exist, you have created a net positive because you have restrained yourself in your behaviors in such a way that you are actually seeking goodness in charity and basically cultivating virtue in yourself and aiding and cultivating virtue in others.
Right.
If you do believe in God and God does exist, well, you are doing exactly what he was saying that you should do, and you will be rewarded anyway. So ultimately, you are being rewarded no matter what the case is, whether if not God exists or he doesn't. That is, but this is ultimately a kind of a hotly contested thought experiment. There's been a lot of people who say that, oh, Blaise, Pascal is being inherently corrupted due to the fact that is biased in a particular way because the man was deeply Catholic and, he was just trying to justify his own ends anyway. Or it's just one of those things. And it's kind of like the, question of evil or the question of free will. Any number of, oh, well, I browsed Reddit for 5 minutes, you know,
I'm so
arguments
sorry.
against. Yes. But let me tell you, being a classical studies uh, student and having to go on Reddit just because honestly I don't know Latin, it is it is painful. It is extremely painful, let me tell you. Um, but uh, the reason why I bring this up is because I have, over the last couple years, I've kind of seen a new version of this Pascal's wager, the 21st century Pascal's wager, shall we say. The fact that, it's not a case of whether or not God exists or not. It's the fact that there seems to be this very violent, very ugly, very like anti-human sentiment in society now. And they're not very popular, but they're there and they're just seemingly propped up. And basically it's the understanding that if you look at these people who are so vigilant and so violently dogmatic in their ways, and you go, either it doesn't matter if God exists or not. God opposes these people. And that's the only justification I need in order to believe in God. I mean, there's way better reasons, but it's pertinent to living in modern society, shall we say.
Oh, absolutely.
And just like living in a big city in Pugenberg, man, I feel it. I feel it because just I brush up against that every single day. So, yay! That's why we're talking about what we're talking about today. Ultimately, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I've also touched on it before. It's not like it's an entirely unfamiliar connective tissue, so to speak, because we have, in the past, begun to study the intersection of religion and the popular culture. It's not the first time, and by golly, it's not going to be the last. There's more coming later this year. I have some pretty fun things on the docket for October, so you guys can look forward to that.
Faith, the Unholy Trinity again.
You know, that game is hard enough. Okay, I beat it. It's like I beat it. I got the best ending. I am not doing the good Christian boy achievement. Okay, I don't hate myself that much. For those who don't know, that's beating the game in marathon mode without dying a single time and getting the best ending of all 3 chapters.
Good Lord.
That is an excruciating platinum. I should challenge a ranger to do that. It's like, hey, you love your platinum trophies, bro? Have I got a game for you?
Hey, man, I'm just saying, you hate yourself. You don't like living. Well, congratulations. This is like a hat trick. Bad decisions.
This game will help you with that in more than one capacity.
Don't kill a ranger. Oh, man.
So the thing that's really interesting, and the thing that I think is kind of omni-important for the totality of this discussion, is the fact that the better part of nerd culture, as we understand it, I'm talking video games, I'm talking manga, anime, all these things, the better part of the nerd culture comes from Japan. Japan not being a particularly religious society. You have to understand the biggest religions in Japan are Shintoism and Buddhism. And Japan's cultural relation with religion is kind of best compared to a buffet line. They can have as much of any one thing that they want, and they can leave anything that's inconvenient or that they dislike behind at the same time. It's a very low priority, it's a very low risk kind of relationship. It doesn't.
It's the.
Good.
Oh, I was just going to say it's the reason why you literally can have icons of Saint Nicholas of Myra. Literally, Santa Claus show up in Buddhist temples.
Yeah, and that's
it's like,
fine.
why is a Christian saint in your Buddhist temple? And they're because they don't consider him a Christian figure. They consider, it's just Santa Claus. He's the funny fat guy who goes ho ho ho.
Funny fat guy from the Coke commercials. Yes. So
yes.
And so you got to understand that everything is filtered through that lens. And there is some historic precedence for this. Back during what's called the Momoyama period, or shortly after Oda Nobunaga died, there was a massive persecution of Christians who had traveled to Japan in order to spread the gospel. They were crucified along the coast as an example to others. And they were martyred.
Oh, I was just going to say, those of you who are players of Fate will know this because their leader is one Shiro Amakusa, who shows up in this game as a ruler class.
Yes, and he is a total G, who
yes.
Will totally dominate the court with their mad Jesuit basketball skills.
That makes me so sad. Francis, why were you such a POS?
That's not really the point. Refocusing here.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No.
Please continue.
No, you're fine. The thing that you guys have to bear in mind is Japan's religion, their relationship with religion is very tenuous. Are there people in Japan who are sincere and devout with faith? Yes. Actually, an excellent example is one we've talked about before, one being a Mr. A.G. Tsuburaya, who created Tsuburaya Productions and created Ultraman. I mean, stop me if you've heard this one before, but it's a mystical land of light, full of incredibly powerful but incredibly alien people, ruled by an all-powerful king who once gave his life to save all life in the universe. But don't worry, guys, he got better a little bit later.
You know what's crazy to me, though, Professor?
Do tell.
The fact that even though it's no longer being officially directed by the Tsuburaya family, it still is extremely Christian even to this day. For instance, G, the part of the story whereupon the king of Ultra gives his life in order to save literally the universe, and then comes back later and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm back," and they're like, "But you died." "Yes,
I got
but
back.
I died in pretend."
For real.
What? Don't worry about it. Let's fight Belial. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, this all happened after they gave up basically the rights to Bandai. It's basically baked into Ultraman to be like extremely Christian.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of special.
No, absolutely.
That, and I'm sure, Mr. A.G. Tsuburaya, is looking down at it and nodding and going, yes, yes. Drop kick Belial again.
It'll be funny.
You gotta throw Otaku on the ground again.
He typed what into the coffee machine? Oh, he's getting drop kicked in the head for sure now.
It wasn't my fault. I was heavily drunk. Okay, it was kind of my fault. I shouldn't have done it.
Honestly, the result was more than worth the effort that I put into it. I don't even care that I don't make any money on that video. That gag was more than worth every single thing that I put into it. No regrets. So,
I agree.
Recentering focus here. The nerd, or rather I should say the otaku view of popular culture is going to be filtered through this very religiously casual Japanese lens. That's just a given. Now, that's not to say that things don't filter through, because they absolutely do. An excellent example of this on the pro-religious side of things is the Castlevania games. The earliest games had a lot of Christian trappings, which is also really interesting because one of the parts of Nintendo's early censorship policies was supposed to be a very secular approach to the design of the games. And Castlevania didn't do that. He had holy water and crosses in the very first Castlevania game. It wasn't subtle. In Castlevania 2, you went to a church in order to rest up, in order to heal from damage.
I think that's excused by the fact that it's literally, vampires, and it's kind of, once again, baked into vampires that, like, what defeats vampires? Well, crosses and holy, items, holy relics. So, I mean, it's not like oh no, think of the children. The children don't go to church. It's like, oh, I mean, you're fighting vampires. I mean,
it makes sense.
How do you? Yeah,
it
all makes sense.
Yeah, it's baked into the DNA of the genre. So, like,
exactly.
it makes sense. It's still just really surprising that Nintendo allowed it to happen.
Yeah, especially considering that they were really, 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 really egregious with like games like Final Fantasy VI, where they added Pearl element.
Guys. Reason. What's weak against Pearl damage? Undead, demons, creatures of darkness. The exceptionally evil are all blighted by Pearl damage. Oh, golly, that's an interesting roster of things that it works on. Just saying.
Yeah. Almost like it's a euphemism for something.
Yeah. Almost like it was actually supposed to be holy or something. Ah, that would be crazy.
No. Next, you're going to tell me that Shadow actually has a like character backstory.
Oh, please,
That
let's not
that's
get
that's
carried away now.
no. I mean, he does, but
No,
you
he
have to.
does.
Don't you want to play? Don't you want to play Gotcha? Don't you want to play Gotcha, Snack? Don't you want to
No.
play Gotcha in your single player game?
No. I hate that stupid character story so bad. It's such a pain to even start.
Yes, this is the reason why you call him Steve, and you just
Yeah,
Steve the
because
Ninja.
he's just this like uninteresting thing. So he's just Steve. I picked the like most
Yes.
generic man's name I could think of, so he was Steve. And like here's the thing. Nintendo censorship aside, there has been this very strong continued religious theming. Now you don't have like anyone like proselytizing, but like in the context of the Castlevania games, they shouldn't need to. The implication is the Belmont family are a culturally and spiritually Christian family who pass on these traditions generation to generation for over 1,000 years.
Okay. No, I'm gonna have to say this because it in the popular consciousness in the last couple of years, Castlevania has been stained, especially with the recent outing by a certain person who just has his fingerprints on everything now.
What are you talking about, Otaku? The Castlevania series on Netflix only ran 2 seasons and then they stopped.
Oh, yes, and there definitely was an entire thing where Trevor explains why vampires can't understand right angles for some reason, and that's why crosses are scary to them.
Nope, that definitely didn't happen. And there was also not a really terrible attempt at retelling Dracula X either. That definitely didn't happen. Or Rondo of
Oh,
Blood,
good.
depending on which version. Like, nope, that definitely didn't happen. It only ran 2 seasons, and then they stopped. And what we had was actually pretty good, and no one ever attempted to continue it again.
Oh, good. That's good. That would be very unfortunate if they continued it and they were like really, really preachy, and then they decided to do Devil May Cry, and then
And
pretend that like the U.S. government invades hell for like hell oil, I guess,
and for
and then
some
they use
reason, we're expected to believe that isn't the coolest sentence ever uttered in the English language.
oh, and they do this all to Green Day, by the way. It's just like peak 2003 energy.
It really is.
Um, yes. So
See,
okay. Well,
that's actually a really important thing. I do kind of want to touch on this because this kind of shows that lackadaisical approach to religion that Japan has always had. The world of Devil
well,
May Cry is
hold on.
sure.
Devil May Cry Netflix was not Japan. Even Japan went, what the crap?
No, I mean that's true, but
So I'm just saying you need to lay the blame
right.
where.
Let's define our terms. That's
Yes,
important. Let's
please do.
define our terms here. So, in the Devil May Cry games, the actual canon story of Devil May Cry, excluding Devil May Cry 2, because Devil May Cry 2 is obviously not canon. I don't care what anyone says.
No, I don't know. I think it is. It's just that like it's very strange but I mean, from what I understand, like the way that Devil Trigger works in subsequent games is based off of the way it is in Devil May Cry 2.
By and large, yes.
But I mean, I think it is canon, and honestly, it's like, it basically is like the Final Fantasy II thing. Again, it was an experiment. They were trying something new. It was clearly a different, team.
Yeah.
It didn't work, but you know what? There were things that they did in it that are, continued to this day. For Final Fantasy II, we got Toad, we got Holy, we got Cain, we got a number. Basically, Sid actually became a character. Well, these are all things that were continued for the rest of the story.
And that's true.
Devil May Cry 2 got, Devil Trigger. I believe he actually got his like gun foos that he could do. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I barely touched Devil May Cry.
Okay, I've only really ever played the first game, and I'm like familiar with the overall story because of Cog and Clockwork. So we will have to call upon them for further elucidation. But the point is not really the mechanics, but the story. It's all very fast and loose. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very Shintoist view of demons because you guys got to understand in Shintoism, the difference in a god, a demon, or a spirit is basically what job they're performing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, they're essentially the same species. They're essentially
You
the
can,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, you can have literally a ghost who is also considered a yokai and also considered a god, and they're all basically just the same. It literally is like the same fox spirit could be considered a god, it could be considered a ghost, it could be considered a yokai, depending on, what hat they're wearing, effectively.
Right. So,
So,
like in Devil May Cry, you have the story of Sparta, the demon who rebelled against Hell. Now, the trappings of Hell and Devil May Cry are very much inspired by the same Christian fan fiction. By that I mean things like uh, you have Dante's Inferno, you have the Divine Comedy, you have the usual list of suspects that are not actual scripture that
can
everyone
I
seems to rely on.
can I just say something also, by the way?
Sure.
Virgil with an E is, you are not motivated. Virgil with an I is the actual poet. Jesus Christ, Lord in heaven, please, for the love of God, if you are trying to talk about Virgil the poet, it is Virgil, Virgil. It is not Vergil. That is white-haired guy who fights Dante with ebony and ivory and has Yamato, okay?
Yes.
Virgil is guy who wrote Aeneid, okay? This is important.
It
It is
is.
it is important. Spelling matter.
Spelling and
That's all.
grammar are important.
It is
So,
extremely important. Sorry, that's all. I
no,
just
no,
needed to
it's
say this.
it's a fair point of clarification. Again, we're defining our terms here. Devil May Cry always played pretty fast and loose. Sparta being a quote unquote good demon is a big part of the backstory, and in general understanding of theology outside of Japan, that would be like a but is he really kind of situation.
Well, I'll say this.
Whereas,
He actually sacrificed himself for humanity, which is more than I can say for, in a hypothetical Netflix anime, I'm saying, with massive air quotes,
anime.
while America invades hell for hell oil once again. But that didn't happen. So we don't have to think about such things.
True. That is very true. And yeah, like they clearly weren't trying to make some kind of high-minded theological piece. The whole thing is, oh, well, they're half demons. That's why they have superpowers and basically can't die. That's all the explanation you really need. Go kill demons as Dante. It's cool. It'll be fun. You'll enjoy it, probably.
I mean, it literally started as a spin-off of Resident Evil, and then it basically became, but what if am fast-paced and cool?
And
And then they're
focused
like,
on
wow, when
racking
you
up
put it like that.
combos. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I mean it makes sense in context. So, like, you got to understand that the nerd perception of these things, the otaku perception of these things, is very much colored by those expectations. So, you run into an intersection where you have a lot of things that are ostensibly pro-Christian. Again, Castlevania and Ultraman are very good examples of this. And then you'll run into things that are not so much. Uh, like a thing that you might have heard of, this little thing called Breath of Fire, which is, as we've learned, courtesy of our good friend the Lone Ranger, uh, a bit anti-Catholic in particular.
What are you talking about? It literally is the goddess Maria who comes down, cloaked in, a halo of light, who literally is like, hey guys, I can give you any gift you want. And then they literally are like, okay, guys, now we all got to fight. We all got to fight for the keys that'll unlock the goddess, so then we can gain the wish. Literally to the point that, the dark dragon tribe destroys itself in a civil war in
Yep.
order to gain this wish. Meanwhile, Maria is laughing her tiny, pasty patukas off because This is exactly what she wanted. She wanted the dragon tribe to destroy itself.
Because, the,
Um,
the good, hard-working dragon tribe were the only ones with the power to stand up to her and her evil, wily ways. And then
yes.
when Plan A fails, she just literally plants like a flesh bud or something and makes basically a huge pastiche of tropes from the Catholic Church and creates the Church of Death Heaven.
Breath of Fire 2 is criminally underrated, and I hate the fact that everyone like just immediately goes to Breath of Fire 3 when honestly so many of the transformations that like people consider come from Breath of Fire 2. Also, I mean, I'm just saying, just the Joker boss battle. I mean, he's literally like the second boss. He is not worth it. But like that goofy boss breath because of comics that the professor did when we were in high school, I will forever remember this goofy looking cockroach guy with a stupid grin. Oh
I'm
man.
very happy that left such an impact.
Big ass just going, oh no, not again.
We are so tired of you.
He literally shows up and then gets killed in the game, and yet I think he had more presence in your comics.
He kind of did,
Which is just
yeah.
funny to me.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Breath of Fire is like at least the first 3 games, I would say, have this very strong uh, we don't need foreign influence story being told.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah. It's
very, very aggressively
if you look
Japanese story.
if you look into the complete works, which the professor actually has,
I do.
and you look into especially Breath of Fire 3's concept art for Myria, uh, she basically is simultaneously a pastiche of Renaissance versions of Madonna, combined with a bunch of Gnostic depictions of Sophia Adem, who is, depending on the sect, because Gnosticism is just, that's a rabbit hole, and I'm not going to, belabor the point. But stop me if you've heard this one, Professor.
All right.
There's a giant goddess angel dragon
All right.
who is also a demon, the mother of demons. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit that.
Yeah. So,
So
when our good girl Myria proceeds to turn into a giant winged serpent thing, it just spoilers for Breath of Fire 3, by the way. She has like a third form, which is a giant serpent wing angel thing.
Spoilers for a 40-hour RPG that is almost 30 years old.
Yes.
Why haven't you played these games yet?
Yes. Also, by the way, it is extremely easy to cheese her. She is not that hard.
No, she really isn't. There's some
In fact, actually, there's been a couple times where the professor and I have been like, okay, so we're not going to use Myrmidon. We are not going to use Aura. We are not going to use Trance. Okay, so we're going to use Giant Form then, and we still just completely destroy her in like 3 turns. And we're like, how did you destroy our ancestors? You're kind of lame.
Well, I mean, in canon, it's actually stated the dragons didn't really fight back because they knew if they went full tilt, they'd probably wipe out the world doing so. So, yeah, take that for what you think it's worth.
I'm just saying, this is the second game. This is the second game that we fought God on a space station.
I'm just saying, if I had a nickel for each time it happened.
It would be 2 times, which is weird that, I mean, it's not, completely a trend, but this is weird that specifically that happened twice.
Yep.
Yes.
So, as you guys can see, there are some divided opinions. But I mean, this is also the same game company that would go on to make Resident Evil 5 and 6, and that's a different story entirely. You might say, not
So what you're
fans.
saying, they are masterpieces then? What are you talking about, Snek? There's never ever been any time ever at all in history that strange and unusual diseases just suddenly mysteriously show up out of Africa and just completely like turn people into living like, just flesh monsters that then proceed to die. Nope.
Nope,
Never ever.
nope. Obviously, obviously I'm overthinking this. Clearly,
Yeah, absolutely. Now, am I saying there are actual zombies in Africa? I mean, probably not. But would it surprise me?
no,
No,
not as
it really wouldn't.
yeah, not especially.
I would just go, oh, okay, this is happening. All right. That's nice, I guess.
I mean, this isn't even getting into really muddy water. I've only really talked about two game companies so far. That's simply just Konami and Capcom, and that's straight up normie level understanding. We haven't even
Mhm.
gotten into the CF that is Shin Megami Tensei and its attempts at telling stories.
Well, okay, let's talk about that then. Um,
All right, where do we begin on this one?
Well, the official thing from the official stance from the original author basically is that it's very wishy-washy, extremely like all myths are real, basically.
Right.
And so the dominion of law um, should be like discouraged in order to, foster harmony.
Right.
But never mind the fact that like not for nothing, but most of the forces of chaos literally are like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you and then, you know, struggle, snuggle you and then eat you. So,
Marinate my
not for
steak with your
nothing, but,
blood.
not for nothing, but I'm just saying, as a squishy human, I'm not all about that lifestyle. I would much rather to not be struggle, snuggled and then, eaten. So, I'm just saying I'm going to build a wall to the spirit world, to the Cliffoth, and I'm going to make the demons pay for it. They can stay on their side of the spirit world. I'll stay in the human world, and I don't get eaten, and they don't get brain power that causes them to have things like wants and desires.
Yep.
So you
I
know what?
mean, the
Everyone's copacetic.
yeah, no, that's true. The canon status is basically that humans basically naturally pivot towards a neutrality between law and chaos.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so
Which is like in Strange Journey, that is effectively the thing. It's like if you are siding with the human expedition versus siding with Mastema and the angelic armies, or the demonic hordes and Jimenez. Oh man, Jimenez, I really liked you up until the point that you're like, you know who I hate? Who is it, Jimenez? I hate humans, but Jimenez, yeah, you are a human. Not anymore, I'm not. Aw, jeez.
we're going this way. Yep.
I reject my humanity. Yeah, but could you at least find a better demon to fuse with than Bugaboo? I mean, he's like a level 2 loser. Ah, he's my little guy.
Better or
He's a
worse?
loser.
Better or
He's a
worse than going
loser,
an
though.
entire game with Dogda riding around on your shoulder going, hey man, you should stab that guy. And it's like, but I just met
Hey,
him.
at least Dogda is like a high level deity. Bugaboo is like a level 5 like wilder. He's not even that good.
I'm just saying,
So having
Dogda
Dogda,
felt like issuing a lot of orders, is what I'm saying.
no, 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 no. Actually, did you ever get to the point where you take care of him? By the way,
Yes, I
it is
compl-
extremely ironic and like perfect what happens.
yes.
Should I
Uh,
explain it for the people,
uh,
the pupils?
we're 35 minutes in. My statistics say everyone stopped listening, so by all means, go ahead.
Well, what happens is basically is in Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse, you are killed and you are brought back as the God Slayer. Basically the entire thing being that humans in this world, basically in this, version of the world, humans are special because the gods have put wards in place such that devils cannot actually fully ever, they basically can't raise their hands against gods. But humans are considered beneath contempt. And so there never was any magical wards placed against humans slaying gods. And so humans, if they gain enough power, could threaten the gods themselves. This is very much a Promethean, rising above your station type of thing. And so ultimately, Krishna decides he's going to start some things and starts to basically consume all humans within the city of Tokyo. So what do? You proceed to walk over to his little place, and you proceed to put several holes into his stupid head because he is a stupid with his stupid hat and his stupid little pipe flute. And he's like, I'm so cool. I got a big stupid serpent and I ate your girlfriend and I'm a big fucking stupid head. Yeah. I'm just going to bring peace to the world by killing everybody. And then so at that point, Dagda proceeds to go Lamau, take all the souls that Krishna ate, and then basically uses all that power to create his own universe. So then you have to go into his universe and fight him, at which point then his mom shows up, Dagda's mom, by the way, Donnie. And Dagda's mom, Donnie, basically, as you're walking through Dagda's universe, she's basically lamenting the fact that her son, went to such extent in order to try and save the universe. Which is ultimately his entire thing. He is effectively a god of health and vitality. And so he basically jumped the shark, shall we say, and well, I guess in order to save everything, I'm going to have to create a new universe. And she's just, clutching her pearls if only he didn't think he had to go this far. So then you have to fight Dagda, and Dagda literally is like, yes, but here's the thing though. You are a revenant. If I die, you are going to die too, there, Godslayer. At which point Donnie turns to you and goes, no, it's okay. Proceeds to rummage around in her bag, pulls out another Dagda and goes, here, this is your new Dagda. And the new Dagda goes, I am the same as old Dagda, except I will not ask you to do anything.
We are not joking, by the way. This actually happens basically exactly as he's explaining it.
And so you could just kill the old Dagda. And you're like, oh, okay, old Dagda, and here's new cool Dagda who has sunglasses.
We're not joking. That without the sunglasses, yeah, that actually is basically exactly how it actually goes.
Yes. And ultimately, basically what boils down to is while this is all happening, the four archangels, well, three of them actually, because one of them you kill in you have to understand that 4 Apocalypse is a guidance story to Shin Megami Tensei 4 itself. And so while this is all happening, the protagonist of 4 is supposed to be wandering around, and you occasionally will encounter him and he'll be doing things. And he, over the course of 4, actually kills Gabriel. So you never actually kill Gabriel, but you have to kill, I want to say Raphael, you have to kill Uriel, and you have to kill Michael. Yes, those are, yeah. After you defeat Dagda, you are given the option, and this is one of these route choices that you occasionally get in Mega 10. You can either decide to enjoy your life on Earth, or you can choose, after defeating the 3 angels, to enter into the inner sanctum of Yahweh. The understanding being that Yahweh was one of the reasons why Krishna ultimately came to Tokyo in the first place. And you have to fight literally through the... Okay, so I know that the professor is going to mention this, and he harps on it all the time about how the Divine Comedy is not canon. It is not actual scripture. It's a fan fiction, and I agree. I absolutely agree. I also think that is an incredibly beautiful piece of work. It is basically a man pining for his dead girlfriend and writing one of the most beautiful pieces of poetry. Also, he basically gets to team up with his best, with his role model. And his role model is like, oh man, I think you're kind of cool and we should hang out sometimes. And like, oh man, Virgil, you're so cool. It's like, yeah, you're a cool man, bro. Oh, dab me up, dab me up. And then they meet God. And God's like, yeah, you're cool too, Dante. And you're cool too, Virgil. It's a shame that you're a virtuous pagan and died before Jesus showed up. Yeah, it's like I didn't really have a choice on that. It's all right. Yeah, we'll talk about this later. So I bring this up because basically the inner sanctum of Yahweh is effectively heaven in Dante, where you have to go through the planetary heavens until you actually encounter the throne of God. And you basically have to yell at God to the point that he basically ceases being God in order to fight you.
It's like S&T's a little crazy. Have we mentioned that?
There's a lot of blasphemy going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have made peace with it due to the fact that ultimately capital G God would not act the way that Yahweh does in Megaten. He would not he basically has flat out said that he would not curse God or curse people the way that Yahweh does in Megaten multiple times. And will not smite the world the way that Yahweh does. So you know what? It's not capital G God. It's just a guy named Yahweh. That happens sometimes. People with the same name.
Yep, can cause a little confusion.
Technically speaking, it's not even God. Yahweh isn't even God's name. It's just a title.
One among many.
That's a little bit of actual canon lore there for you. You esoterica bros, you esoterica sisters that are, the absolute patricians who are still listening to us right now. Yeah, so I mean that's more of a deep cut though, and honestly, it's kind of telling that Megaten, especially mainline Megaten, is significantly less popular than Persona.
Now, because in S&T, you make friends in order to murder them. And then, no matter what path you go, everyone hates you and tries to kill you, and then you have to kill them. And then by the time you're done, you're standing on a mountain of corpses asking yourself, was it worth it to do what I did? Meanwhile, in Persona, you make friends so that you can smooch them all, and then have your little tee-hee, I smooched them moment after the fact.
I'm just saying, at the end of Strange Journey, when the literal computer turns to you at the end of the game and goes, I'm sorry, you need to leave me behind so that I can self-destruct. But why, Arthur? Why? You are my greatest friend. No, you have to understand, with the knowledge that I have gained here in the dark world, I would be considered a god. And in my effort as an artificial intelligence, I am here only to assist humanity, and I could never consider myself a god. Therefore, I must remove myself from humanity's history. At which point, I just have manly tears as the one person.
The one person
who
doesn't backstab you in that game.
Yes, basically has to anhero himself right when he gains awareness. It is really sad. I'm just saying Strange Journey is really, really good.
Yeah, as said, S&T is a weird case. But I also think it's really symptomatic of how Japan views the whole religion discussion. Everything's really floaty. There's not really much difference in angels and demons, spirits, and miscellaneous yokai. It's all kind of just a mishmash. And yeah, maybe they fall into different families, but they're ostensibly the same.
I think a lot of it also is the fact that if you actually look at the Bible, really the church itself doesn't really go into it. And unless you start veering into esoterica or the Apocrypha, they really don't delve much on angels or demons. they're just kind of there, and it's kind of assumed that you know what these beings are and what they do. And it's just kind of like, and of course, since we all know what these things are, we don't need to talk about them. Okay, continuing on. So then Guy, met a girl and had child, and child was, Holy Prophet. And then Holy Prophet proceeded to dunk on the Babylonians, because it's always inevitably the Babylonians. What part in the Old Testament am I talking about? It could be a number of them.
But that could be most of them, actually.
Yes.
So, I mean, the broader point is uh, it's undeniable, regardless of whatever your belief system is. And I'm of the opinion that everyone is entitled to believe whatever it is they wish to believe. That's cool. You have your thoughts. I have mine. And even good sir Otaku here and I don't agree 100% on literally every single possible topic there is to discuss when it comes to the theological in nature. And you know what? That's okay. That is actually not that big a deal.
I'm gonna get you to I'm gonna get you to appreciate the Cult of the Saints here one of these days, Professor.
I do think it's an interesting and fascinating bit of history. I didn't. We grew up in very different sects, so our
true.
view on things is from the get-go quite different.
But you know what? I think, honestly, it was kind of eye-opening when little Ditaku, who is very much a dogmatic, very, very dogmatic little lad, encountered, little Snek, and, the two of us are like, hey, but what if be friends, though? Well, okay.
Yeah, I think we can manage that.
Yeah. Oh no, this guy likes anime. That's kind of sus. Oh god, I like anime. I'm kind of sus.
Oh, self-report among us.
Breaking, Ditaku likes anime.
What are the odds? The Tomodachi Bros like anime. You heard it here first, folks. Breaking news.
Weeb report. Never mind the fact that one of our earlier names was supposed to be the Weea Bros.
Yeah. Also, let's not ignore the fact that, season 1 of the podcast exists, and it was literally just anime all the way down.
One of the inciting incidents that caused the collapse of season 2 basically is proof of is the reason for. I mean, and you touched on this earlier, the fact that ultimately, everyone is entitled to their own beliefs.
Right.
And it's kind of a matter of faith. You kind of have to take it on faith. And I'll say this, there was an incident that happened basically that caused the fallout, amongst other things, of season 2. And that is kind of the source of the reason why I am here talking today. And I don't say that lightly, because if it wasn't for this event, I wouldn't be here. And it's kind of one of those things, and I'm not trying to garner sympathy or anything, but it is very, very telling when you have a entire suite of doctors come up to you and they all go, yeah, we're not sure why you're alive. You shouldn't be alive. And you're like, thanks.
That's great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And they're like, no, it's a miracle. It literally is an act of God that you are still with us. And it's like, well, that's a lot to chew on. I'm probably never going to get over this.
Well, I don't think we've actually really gone into depth on this. Do you want to recount this story for the viewers at home?
I don't want to belabor the point with them, but I just wanted to say it's not really important. Ultimately, my point is that it's because of this event that I, believe. I mean, amongst other reasons, but it is a huge point, and it's for that reason. Honestly, it's one of those things. I really cannot explain it. It's not quantifiable, but it is a thing, and I can point to that and go, yes, my life was touched in this way, and this is a thing that I can stand to as, there is something out there that is greater than me. I know that is literally, outside of my experience, you're going to go, Jitaku, what the hell is that? What am I supposed to do with that? And I go, you know what, Jimmy, there, Sally. I really don't have anything to tell you. I'm just telling you what it has happened to me.
No, that's fair.
So,
That's all you can do. You can only really tell your own story. And like I've talked about it a little bit. There's been a couple different videos where I've touched on it in brief. You guys got to understand, I grew up in a very traditional Southern Baptist kind of upbringing. If you're familiar, it's a little bit dogmatic. It's kind of like the meme is that Southern Baptists are no fun. Um, they don't dance. They only ever listen to music from the 1920s. Like they discovered jazz music and never moved on. Pretty much, if you go to a Southern Baptist church, most of what you're going to hear is hymnal music. Uh, no one dances and everyone eats too much.
I'll say this: at least you guys have like worship music that I would want to actually sing. Like you listen to. For my own part, I was born and raised a Roman Catholic, and let me tell you, Catholic worship music is like the most dreadful, sad, Dan Fogelberg sounding 1970s folk music dredge I have ever heard. It is so sad. So at least you guys have like music that I would actually be like, you know what? I would want to actually sing this outside, because if I was going to sing, like I am the Lord of the Dance, I could just feel my masculinity just draining off into the ether.
I wasn't ready for that comparison, but it's not like you're wrong either.
I'm just saying, I actually I was invited by I was invited by Little Snek to one of his prayer services, and I'm like, your music is kind of happening. I'm kind of okay with this. And then, then we both learned about Striper, and it's like, wow, this is really happening.
This is
I
where
can
it's
get
at.
into this.
We can work with
Hey,
this.
hell yeah, brother. Oh, I'm sorry. Heaven yeah, brother.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. And I talked about this a little bit in the very first next sermon video, but I think it bears repeating. Uh, I was of the mind as a teenager, well into my 20s, I would say, that my original ambition was to become a preacher. Now, that didn't happen for lots of different reasons. Life happens. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens. I followed a different career path, and I later decided to become an entertainer. And then I decided these are not mutually exclusive. This
Nope.
could be my pulpit in my own way.
Nope. Well, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So like I found it as I would tell these stories about myself as I played these different games. Like you guys seem to really like it when I do personality quiz games, and hearing my rationale on them, and just like over time, like these things they like to ask deep philosophical questions, or at least questions that are superficially deep. You know what I mean? Uh, they're deep when you're 13, and when you get older, you realize they're just kind of like contrived. So like they'll ask these questions about like angels and demons and God and worship and like how you go about it. And so like these stories would start coming out, and I was like, you know what? You guys basically know where I stand on most things. I don't really feel like I need to hide it. Uh, so like. Yeah, I am a Snek of the faith. That's why I love seeing characters like the Belmont family. I love seeing those who take up the fight for justice and standing in the light, bringing the light to the dark corners of the earth. It's a beautiful and very inspirational kind of hero archetype. And the thing is, Gothic horror basically got replaced by, of all atrocities, paranormal romance. Like we don't get Dracula and Creature from the Black Lagoon. We get Twilight. Yeah, like what happened? But there are so many genres. Like I really am a Snek out of time, aren't I? Like
I'm just saying, Professor, this just implies to me that what you want to have is you want to have Van Helsing, but then you also want to have it be like, yes, I'm now going to destroy you, hot vampire queen. Oh, Dr. Van Helsing. Oh, no, very well. Well, if you submit to the Lord Jesus Christ, then I will. Well, you've convinced me. What is this that you're putting before me? It's a marriage certificate. No,
Uh-oh.
this is a literal odd couple.
That's like I talked about this
And
a
then
little.
Common Rider Kiba was born.
Whoops. Grandpa Neo Fang guy.
What?
Oh, that escalated fast. You guys should also go watch the Tabletop Chi Bros playlist as well, as we talk a bit about my World of Darkness character, who was a Path of Heaven Bruja. I think you guys would, if you guys find this kind of discussion fascinating, I think you would really enjoy hearing about him and his strange companions.
Oh, you mean Joe and Joe, who proceed to use wrestling moves in order to destroy demons?
Yep. Well, I've had a couple. Like I had a Modern Knight Bruja who was Path of Heaven, and my friends Cog played a Tremere, and our buddy who's not been on the channel played a Malkavian, and both of them are Path of Humanity. And
I never actually met that buddy. That's how old this is.
Yeah,
like,
he ended up moving. He moved a couple of years before I met you. Like the year before, I think, because he had already met Cog at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he was.
Oh, yeah, he has. Yeah, he did. Because without that, we wouldn't get the masterpiece, the wonderful magnum opus that is Cog Saga. Boy.
It's like, yeah, like the whole thing. I see, as vampires, you sleep in coffins, right? Well, I didn't. I actually, as part of my, being my character was supposed to be very devout, so he slept on a thrice blessed silver cross. So I was constantly under, I think, 2 or 3 levels of aggravated damage at all times.
unless you took the allergy to silver, that wouldn't do damage to you just for being silver. It would be the fact that it was a blessed item.
It's a blessed relic. Yes, that was what was actually hurting me.
I mean, bear in mind that it was actually a flaw you could take, because basically the thing is with World of Darkness vampires is unless your clan is specifically weak to something, you could take additional flaws in order to gain additional character creation points and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I think the real thing was that it was a holy artifact. And
Right.
then eventually, after putting me through a lot of crap to see how I'd respond, eventually the GM agreed that I had properly demonstrated that my character was worthy of the faith merit. And at long last, I stopped being blighted by holy things. Which,
wow, you know what? I am really not that much of a I'm not that much of a killjoy anymore. I didn't require you guys to go through a big thing in order to gain that.
That was a multi-session campaign that lasted over the course of 6 or 7 months. So we were put through a lot, is what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, Joe and Joe was about 6 months.
That's true. Yes, because then there was the game that Otaku was referring to was a Middle Ages game, and I played a Gongrel, who was basically 6'6" Christian German Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star.
And then Noodle was playing as a erudite, basically a 6th century Byzantine noble who woke up 10 years ago and was like, what the hell is this? And so he teamed up with you were Johan and he was Joachim. And so
I was Joachim.
Yeah, it was Joe and Joe.
Yep.
Oh, so he was Johan.
Yeah,
because it was Joe and Joe. Yes. It was Joe and Joe's Bizarre Adventure, as it were.
Yes. And
where they wrestled the crap out of demons and, exorcised things and were jolly Christian cooperation brothers.
We were. In fact, we came across a cursed book, and Otaku was our GM, and he was explaining to us that this book was literally talking smack at us. And we're like, this can't stand. We have to do
Well, it
something
wasn't
about this.
talking smack specifically to you. It was trying to corrupt. There was a Nosferatu in your team who I was trying to just mess with. And then I just, because it's a literal actual demon, it's, you see this, holy knight, and it's like, oh, wow, you sure are holy, Mr., cursed, literally cursed by God. Wow, you sure must be, you're doing really great there. Really holy. And yeah, they didn't take this sitting down, shall we say.
And we're like, you know what? We're Christian. We're men of the faith. We should exercise this book. And Itaku goes, wait. You are vampires. You are undead. You are the cursed undead. You are creatures of the night. And we said, yes. He's like, and you're going to try to cast out a demon in the name of the Lord. Yes. So you understand you're going to eat a crap ton of damage for doing a holy rite. And we said, did we stutter?
Like, well, all right, do a prayer roll.
And we did.
And the worst part is not only did they it's not just that they succeeded, they like critically succeeded. And I'm like, okay, you guys succeeded. You cast out the demon, but the demon then went into a nearby deer, and now the deer is like a horrifying monster creature. And then they proceed to both go, not without a fall guy, and proceed to power bomb this demon deer.
Yes. It's like that scene in Nietzsche Joe where the principal is wrestling the deer.
Basically, and then they both proceed to jump up and do the 80s, like, yeah!
High five!
I'm like, I can't even get mad at them. This is probably the coolest thing that happened in any vampire game I've ever played it.
We need to bring back Joe and Joe. I would be very keen to bring back Joachim.
This is the spirit that I wanted to try and capture in Dragon Slayer, but we'll talk about that when it's more complete, shall we say?
Yes, absolutely.
It's like 80% complete now.
Fair.
But,
yeah, no, that makes sense. Anyway, we've been going on for about an hour now, so why don't we wrap this episode up for now? Itaku, why don't you start with your closing thoughts, and I'll punctuate with mine.
Doing good is not hokey. Doing good is heavily frowned upon, but doing good is in fact actually a good. And you know what? It might not be easy, but it's the right thing to do. So go for it. Go for it.
No, absolutely. The thing is, like, no one's pretending for an instant that you don't look or sound cheesy when standing up for the right things. But you got to remember what's actually important in the long run. The thing that will be the real arbiter of who you are as a person is how you behave when nobody is watching you. And honestly, if what that looks like isn't what you want it to be, then you know what you need to do. You should always strive for an attitude of constant self-improvement. You should embrace that as a challenge and the next step forward for you. And so, thank you all. If you're still listening, like an hour and 8-minute mark, I think it is. If you're still listening, thank you for starters. And I'm assuming you probably already done that like, comment, subscribe combo that we love so very, very much. But if you haven't, please do. That helps us out a great deal.
Tell us if you have any thoughts. If if this touched you, if you have, similar experiences, or if there's other games or, stories that, touched you, or, or if we're wrong. I mean, hey, we're willing to listen.
Yeah. We'll entertain the conversation. Any argument made in good faith is one that we will certainly entertain. Now, if you're just trolling us, we're going to know, and we're just going to be like, okay, cool story, bro. But
Literally, cool story, bro.
yeah, literally. Like, that being said, please engage. Let us know your thoughts. If you have other games or other cool things that we could check out, hey, please let us know. We always are taking recommendations. We're always looking for something new and exciting to sink our teeth into. So that'd be really great. Anyway, this has been Otaku and the Hipster Snek, and this has been another installment of the Tomodachi Bros podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you guys next time.